This is Hoodies. Okay, not a lot of time. Damn, we in a serious race. I got very, very little time. So check it. Welcome back to another dope session of Footies the Podcast. I'm the host of Gar Rashidi, coming at you live from the Skill Suite, or maybe not so live, but we coming at you. Check it, man. I'm gonna go ahead and get right into this thing. So listen, this episode right here is for folk of all ages. So if it applies, it applies. If it don't, it don't. So let's begin. So you're in therapy, or you've gone through therapy, okay? And you are fortunate enough. I'll try to address everybody, but for those who are fortunate enough to have at least one parent still among the living in this dimension, and if that parent or family friend or whoever or whatever, okay, is still among the living, right? So, okay, you're advised by your therapist to confront this man or woman, this mother or father, okay, because they weren't there, okay, and some of our parents were there, but they weren't present. So as far as I'm concerned, you're still not there, right? So check it. You finally in a space where you're talking to them, FaceTiming them, whatever the case may be, texting, whatever, right? So naturally, you're going to want clarity. Why weren't you there? You ever think about me? Why were you not there? There are issues that I've been dealing with all my life because you weren't there. So you ask that question amongst many others, okay? Be clear, man. Be clear. And some of y'all are going to click off of this. Some of y'all are going to go ahead and click off and move on to another pod, and that's cool. Fuck it. Okay? So just know that you have to actually want you have to actually want the explanation. You have to actually be ready to receive the explanation, good or bad. Okay? So you confront said parent, said guardian, whatever, and they give you an explanation. Okay, so all right, so ready or not, the explanation may not necessarily suffice right away. It just may not. Because the wound is still fresh. It may have a little scab on it, but the scab is new. It ain't like an old scab. You know when you got an old scab because it'll start to chip off a little bit because it's ready, right? So this, but if you got a new scab and less than a new scab, it's an open wound. So if for me to stand here and say that if they give you an explanation, take the explanation and forgive them. Yeah, I said it. Forgive them. You may not necessarily be ready to at first, right? Because like I said, I've been dealing with this all my life, but you wasn't there, but it still happened. Listen, forgive them. Forgive them. For many reasons. Number one, it frees you because you're the one who's in a prison, not them. They've dealt with where they dropped the ball as a parent or guardian or whatever. Most times they've dealt with it one way or the other. Okay? Forgive them. Extend them some grace. Because number one, you only get one mother and one father. Okay? And you may say to yourself, oh, I don't really need it. I'm better off. You sure? You sure about that? Because you're in therapy. You're still dealing with some things. Now, granted, okay, so in the case of a parent or guardian, say they're no longer among the living and in this dimension, right? My advice would be, well, you don't need their permission to heal. Just go ahead and go through the steps to heal. Sure, you can do the same thing with the parent that's living. But I know I'm kind of all over the place. So picture this. If you can. If you can't, just click the fuck off. You're not playing along. Okay? So if you can picture this, understand that your parent or parents, they were once young just like you are, or just like you were. Just like there were things that you felt as though you should have got, the things you felt as though they should have did. Okay? That same thing happened to them too. Our parents are operating, with a deficit as well. Just like you. Just like you. Just like your childhood was this and that. Our parents are people. Just like you. They're human just like you. They don't have all the answers neither. Excuse me. And I know it sounds crazy because when you think of a mother or a father, okay, we paint this big ass picture of them, and anything we put them on this pedestal, basically, is what I'm saying. And should they expose or reveal themselves to be anything less than that, issues. And that's part of the reason why we don't forgive them. Because when we little, we say, I don't give a fuck what happens between me and my baby mama. I'ma still be a part of my kid's life, and I ain't never going this and I ain't never going that. You say this from an emotional and angry kid's perspective. Right? You don't know nothing about being in a relationship, nothing about being a parent, nothing about having a baby moms or a baby daddy for that matter. You don't know nothing about that. You get a little older and you get in these relationships, and when you was a kid, you didn't think about all these other nuances that goes into it. You ain't think if the baby mama's the type of woman that will try to emasculate you or trigger you in some way. You didn't take into account that this man might be smacking you around or this, that, and the third. You didn't think about all these other things. The things that play a part in the harmony between you, her, and the child. You understand what I'm saying? So there's a reason for everything. Okay? And I almost lost my train of thought. So so what I'm trying to say is our parents are people too, who didn't and don't have all the answers. But if you're fortunate enough to have access to that parent, to actually talk to them, to get an understanding, maybe form some sort of bond or relationship, at first, you may not be open to it, but I'm telling you, forgive them, because life is short. Life is short than a motherfucker. Even on your longest day, life is short. Okay? Another reason why we should show some grace and some forgiveness toward that parent or guardian or whoever. Okay, so mental health, that's actually something that's fairly new. Well, no, mental health's always been around, but I'm saying now we're all in a space where mental health is talked about everywhere now. Everybody hollering about mental health this and mental health that, self-care this and self-care that. But it's fairly new. People ain't really start talking about mental health until, I want to say a good 4, 5, maybe 6 years ago. Somewhere around that. That was when it became more than just, nigga, man up. Man up and get over it. Or woman up and get over it. Tighten up. And although I'm an advocate of man up, never man up and just get over it. There's no such thing. You know what I'm saying? There's a such thing as man up and self-medicate. That ain't how I mean it. When I say man up, I mean man up and get some help. Man up and get the help you need. Man up and talk to someone. Woman up and do all of the same things. Right? Forgive your parents. Forgive them. They came up in an era where therapy wasn't a thing. You just got over it. A lot of them turned to alcohol and some other shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't even think there necessarily was a space, especially for men, to actually express how they really felt. Depression and fear and and feeling inadequate or feeling like you're not enough. We're now in a space like that where a man can come out and say something like that. But a lot of men, a lot of our parents come from an era where you just had to get over that shit. Nobody wanted to hear nothing. You understand what I'm saying? So, for example, I confronted my parents. You know what I'm saying? Now, my mom was always there. My pop, not so much. But listen, therapy, your therapist will advise you to have a conversation with said parents or parent. And when you talk to that parent, and you may not necessarily be ready to receive the explanation, right? But for me, I was ready. I was ready. And like I said, it opened my eyes and it helped me to realize that we do all of this boohooing and shit. We do all of this harping on what we didn't get. What that parent didn't do, or what they did do, said, or didn't say. And not one time do we think about what triggered them. What happened to them that made it so that they couldn't be the best possible parent that they could be? What were they going through? Especially if our parents were young parents. We don't think about that. Some of our parents were young parents in their teens or early 20s, or even mid 20s. Now I want you to take a minute and think, right? Where were you when you were in your late teens, 18, 19, 17 even? Where were you, or what were you doing? What were you like in your early 20s, mid 20s? Was you on your shit? Was you on your square? Or was you too trying to figure some shit out? Now add being a parent to the equation. Okay? Not only that, but add some trauma. Some shit that happened to you when you was a teenager, or maybe even a little kid. Throw that in the mix. How good of a parent do you think you'll be? I get it. It still happened. I get it. It did. It did. But if the explanation in terms of why that parent wasn't there, if that doesn't suffice, then what will? Is there an explanation that would soothe you? Is there an explanation that where the light bulb will come on like, okay, yeah, I get it now? It probably isn't. Because I remember when I first as a teenager confronted my pop about not being there. He gave me explanation, said that he was in a space at one point in time where he couldn't take care of himself. He told me that 1,000 times. And as a teenager, it didn't add up. Fuck it. I didn't care. Just call it what it is. I didn't even care. I didn't care. He could have said, listen, they deported me to the moon and I had to find my way back. You couldn't find a phone to call me? You could have called me. It wouldn't have cared. I mean, it wouldn't have mattered. Because the wound was still fresh. It wouldn't have mattered. And it didn't matter until I grew up, first of all, and then became a parent myself. You know what I'm saying? Now I see it all so clear. I don't want no smoke with none of my parents. I don't want no smoke. Life is short. And listen, yeah, you could be like, well, yeah, nigga, that's easy for you to say, nigga, you almost 50. True. Almost 50. Brother been through some things, seen some things, felt some things. Some good, some bad. So I didn't just arrive here is my point. I didn't just arrive here, but I'm here. And I'm telling you, let it go. Let it go. All the time that you're wasting nitpicking at every explanation they give you in terms of why they weren't there, you're wasting time. You're wasting time. You're wasting time. You could be making the best of what time you have left. Now, I'm 50. My parents are in their upper 60s. They've got less time in front of them and more time behind them. I ain't about to spend shit. I'm 50. I don't really need to get into the life expectancy. Yeah, I get it. I'm plant based and all that. But I don't have to get into the life expectancy of humans, do I? So it could be that I got less time in front of me. Listen, if you in your motherfucking 30s, if you are in your 30s or heading into your 30s, you are creeping up on having a little less time in front of you too, and more time in back of you. Let it go, man. What what will it do? Like, will it hurt you to let because there's nothing you can do to change the past. Nothing. I guarantee it. You can hold on so hard, okay, to that lack of that parent not being there the way you needed them to be. You can hold on so tight to that lack, that deficiency. Man, it's gone. It ain't nothing that parent can do to fix it. Nothing they can do to change any of that. All they can do is give you an explanation as to what was going on in their lives. You know, the thing that prevented them to be there the way they wanted to. Our parents are not the same people they were back when they were young parents. And I think it's a bit unfair to still hold them accountable for who they used to be. Okay, all right. I get it. It still happened. I get it. But what will it take to get you to soften your heart for them? Forgive your parents, man. Life is short and there's so much, man, forgive your parent. Forgive them and use this newfound space as an opportunity to Now let's have conversations about the things they missed. Now y'all can sit and laugh and then such and such from this year to that year, I was doing such. Oh, tell me about that. Boom, another conversation. You're getting to know each other. I don't want to get into y'all religious beliefs because most people just be talking anyway. And I don't have a lot of time. I got like a little under 15 minutes left before my client comes in. So in closing, I'll just say this. I'm not going to get into y'all's religious beliefs and all right? I'll just say this, right? Okay. Regardless of who you believe in, regardless of what you believe in, life will life. That's just what it is. Life will life. I don't care if you got Jesus. I don't care if you got Prophet Muhammad, God, or Allah, or Olodumare, or Buddha, or whoever you got, whatever your belief system is, life will life. Nothing will change that. You could be a 5%er. I don't care how well you know your 120 lessons. Life will life. And all the lessons, all the scripture and passages you have to put that shit into practice. Now ask yourself, are you bestowing those beliefs on this journey of seeking clarity from the parent who wasn't there in your life? You understand? And I ain't here to go through all the nuances with that. That's just all I'm going to leave you with. You know what I'm saying? That's just something for the folk. And yeah, man. From this day forward, I want no smoke with my folks. I love both my folks. I love my folks. Ma, I love you. Pop, I love you, man. I love both my parents, and I appreciate y'all. I know it wasn't easy. Y'all was slighted by folk in y'all family. Y'all was slighted. And in some cases, in y'all cases, y'all was done dirty. And that played a part in the type of parent you were. There were things that you probably couldn't even let go from your past that you couldn't even let go, and it affected your job as a parent. I get it. And yo, I'm sorry that you went through what you went through. I'm sorry. And I'm sorry that I gave you shit as a teenager about how your past affected your parenting responsibilities. I'm sorry you had to go through that. I'm sorry for making you feel like shit over it. If I ain't never said that before, I'm saying it now. And I'm kind of in my bag. So there's going to be a part 2 to this. I don't know if I'll get a chance to do it today, but I will. So until next time, I got to take care of my client. So until next time, thank you for watching Hoodies, and be back for part 2. All right? Peace. Hey, this is Hoodies, man. Where I got to go. This is Hoodies.